Hey folks, good morning. Been quite some time since we put a video up. It's been I think it's about a month and a half. Had quite a few family emergencies. It was not just one, there were several of them that we had to deal with. So, got kind of busy with that. And then the holidays. So finally getting around to publishing a video. So we'll go through some stuff today. Hopefully everybody's staying safe again. It's just been a crazy pandemic, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out with the whole stay-at-home orders coming through. And I know my wife tells me that in the hospital she's seeing quite a few COVID cases coming through. There have been some COVID cases in our family. It's been pretty disturbing because some of them one or two of them look pretty serious. So, and recently also in the hospital, I heard that one 42-year-old person died. I was just like, what? Unbelievable. Anyway, so this is December 5th, 2020. We're going to go through and talk about a few things. So hopefully everybody's making money because this market has been absolutely astounding. So today we'll keep the presentation a little short. So we'll talk about, normally what the NASDAQ, Dow Jones, QQQ, and SPY are doing. We did some trades recently last week. We made money on all those trades, and we'll talk about those picks that we did, what we think the markets are going to do, and what our forecast is. I will recap some of the key site features, for people who are not watching our videos. Maybe we'll just go through quickly some of the features that we have on our site. Talk about some picks for next week and the possible trades for next week, basically, that I've listed here, and I got a lot more, but I'll talk about these particularly. And then again, I'll be very happy. It keeps us sort of going and motivated if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hopefully we are parlaying some knowledge to you folks from technical analysis. We're going to start writing some code and stuff pretty soon, hopefully, and show how that works. We're working on that right now, and also the site upgrade is ongoing. We ran into some technical issues, so we are working through that right now because we had some database feed issues. So we worked on that, we resolved it. And to subscribe to our site, it's $180 a year. Okay, it's not like it's going to make you broke. Okay, so if you can't afford $180 a year, don't even waste your time, right? Don't even trade. That's my simple philosophy. Again, you can contact us at truechartscom@gmail.com if you have any questions on this video, or you want some feedback on some technical analysis on a stock that you're watching. Just shoot me an email with a chart, and I can tell you what my thoughts are. And then you can always follow us on Twitter. I do some posts there about some positions I'm taking, and also what I might be looking at, and some features and how the buy sell signals from our site work. Okay, so let's get to it. So we're going to talk about the NASDAQ DJIA, and let's get to the site first, and then I'll talk briefly about an application we wrote, and we'll show you how the semiconductor stocks are looking. So since we don't have a DJIA stock on our site, unfortunately, I'll have to go and use Yahoo. Okay, so let me show you one quick thing before I get to something. So this was a trade I was thinking about taking, before. So I'll show you what happens. So fortunately, this data is of the day I was thinking of taking the trade, because this looked positive. But, I was just like debating if I should take this trade. And I said, okay, let me just check the news. And the news, I saw that they were supposed to announce earnings the next day. I think this data is of 11:30. They were going to announce earnings on December 2. So I was just like, I don't want to take the risk. So and sure enough, watch what happens. This is why you have to make sure you're watching all key milestones for a company, right? And guess what happened? Look at this. The stock dropped over $50. So, I made the right decision by not taking a trade in this particular stock, even though the technicals were looking strong. So that told me that, it's wise to stay away from this trade, because you cannot predict what the company is going to announce in their earnings. So anyway, so let's go ahead and go to, I think it's carat DJIA. I think that's what it is. Yep. Okay. So we've been very steadfast in our belief that the market is bullish. We actually talked about and showed some charts where we said the Dow was going to go to 30,000, and it did. And you can see what you're seeing here is, it is actually broken out. So this was the resistance right here, up top here, and in this range. So let me zoom out. You can see the long-term chart is still, it looks very extended, folks, but I tell you something, when there is a bubble, you can't worry about certain things. You just have to ignore them, even though they may be counterintuitive to what your gut is telling you. So we are in a massive bubble primarily because the Fed is printing money nonstop. Every bank is printing money. And what that means is, I tell my wife, is money has become water. Basically, it's just like water. It's just flowing nonstop. Eventually it will end, but we don't know when it will end. So anyway, keep a mind on this. And so let's look at the chart here. You can see this is a breakout. We think this breakout could go all the way up. And the volume is good. The MACD is good. This is a weekly chart, I believe. Yeah, this is a weekly chart. So we expect this market to go up. So now let's go to our site and we'll see there. And again, this is where we post a lot of our updates. You can see here on Twitter, what stocks we are targeting, what we like, some of the results of our buy sell signals. We do that. Okay, so let's get to truecharts.com. Where is it? Sorry, give me a second here. So let's go here. And what we'll show you is that, let's go to QQQ. And on QQQ, you can see breakout. It's moving up nicely. Let's look at, and I told you we have this very key feature that you don't have to go change anything. You just click on the weekly chart and you get a weekly chart right away. You can see, even though this looks so extended, you would have thought this would have turned over. Again, counterintuitive to your thinking. Even though the RSI is sort of trending down, this is breaking out to a new high. What this tells me is this is still going higher and higher. And again, primarily because of all the money printing activities, because the Fed is still buying $120 billion worth of assets every month. Plus, rates are at zero. So everybody believes, and with Janet Yellen coming in, she's another, basically a dove. She's not a hawk. And Jerome Powell has already said they're not going to talk about raising rates till 2023. So you can just take that and say, wow, this is just like amazing time to make money. And I'll talk briefly about one other thing that I forgot to list. Let me put it in my thing. Basically, I want to talk about trading. So let me just go and say here, trading retirement accounts. So I'll talk about that in a second also. So I forgot about that. So basically, you can see here the QQQ has been going up nonstop. And we expect it to go higher because this is a breakout. This is a classic breakout. Everything is trending up. So keep buying. You can buy QQQ. Let's look at the SPY. Also, the other thing that's happening in the SPY also is also broken out. Our target was 370, which is already is at, and then I think now it's going to 400. So that's about 4,000 on the S&P is what I predict just by January, till Biden comes into office, till that date. So this is a very fast move that's coming up. It's very momentum driven. Everything is positive. Let's look at the weekly chart on this. And you can see it's still trending up. All indicators are moving up. And so I think the risk is right now very, very low in the market. It's just like absolutely almost zero the way I see it, unless there's a world war. So that's the way I think about it. And then what also is happening is you're seeing people are moving back into value stocks. So you can see people are thinking with the vaccine coming into play, you can see that all stocks are breaking 200-day moving average. Look at this, ExxonMobil. It's broken 200-day moving average. Okay, then let's look at EOG. That's another one, EOG Resources. Why is it doing this? Okay, I've not logged in, I think. So you can see EOG Resources, it's moving up. It's above its 200-day moving average. So what you're seeing is the market is already predicting what's going to happen 6 months down the road. So next year, July, is when they think everybody's going to get vaccinated, things are going to return back to normal, and all these stocks are already taking off. You can see volumes are picking up, stocks are moving up. There are many stocks that have, I think, overreacted because we can not predict what really is going to happen, but the markets are already reacting. You can see, look at this Philips Van Heusen up. Then let's look at retail, KSS. It's up. It's moved from $22 to $40. Oh man, this like momentum is just like unbelievable. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about. And then I also wanted to show, so the SPY we talked about, NASDAQ, DJIA, and SPY. So we talked about those. Okay, what trades did we do last week? So let me show you some trades we did last week. WDC, we really like the stock, by the way, so we think it's going to $60, and I'll show you why. It is a competitor to Micron, and Micron has been doing very well. So this is primarily driven by the amount of memory that's going to go into mobile phones. So if you know, these are also sort of like, in a way, secondary 5G plays, because all these companies use flash and extensive quantities of flash in their cell phones. So not only are laptops using cell phones, but all servers, that everything is going to flash. It's been going at flash anyway, but now the demand is picking up, and you're seeing more and more demand coming through. So these are cheap stocks relative to the market cap. So let's show you this weekly chart. I actually posted this on the Twitter that day. I am long this stock. I bought this at about $47. I'm still holding it because my target is $62, and I think it could break out even higher, because you can see here this type of move, when it makes a move, it just keeps going up and up and up. So I'm going to keep watching it, and I'm going to I think my quick target is right now is $55, and then I think it would break out. So this is one of my top picks basically right now. Let me show you another one I did. So work. I was long work. Interesting thing happened. So when I saw that Salesforce, that day, the moment I was watching TV, so I tell you why I watch CNBC. I don't turn on the volume. I just watch the ticker. And then I saw this stock suddenly jumped. And I was like, what's the news? So I started looking, and the news was, oh, there's a rumor that Salesforce is going to buy them. So I immediately jumped onto the stock, and I bought it, and I in 2 or 3 different accounts quickly at $35, $36, and I quickly wrote the 40 calls for the following week. And the 40 calls were going about $2.50, and guess what? Salesforce bought the company at approximately $43. So for me, it worked out perfectly. I made about $7, $8 in that trade, which is more than 20% return in a week. So it was an awesome trade. That's why I watch the news sometimes at CNBC. I always run it in the background so I can watch the ticker. We talked about, if you go back and look in our videos, we talked about Qualcomm. We said it was going much higher. We had picked it here. We said this could go my target is 175, 180 for this stock, and I'll tell you why. So if you go look at this table, we have this very neat thing we have written where we pull data from the web, and we compile it, and we extract it, and we put it together. And this is the data I pull for all the semiconductor stocks today. So if you look at Qualcomm, which is right here, relative to all the others, it's pretty cheap in terms of price to sales. The cheapest is Intel, okay? The cheapest is Intel, and then ST Microelectronics. So let's look at those two. Let's look at Intel. A friend of mine sent me an email, say, hey, should I short Intel? I said, no, don't short it. I like it very much. I think he sent me an email right here. I said, don't short it. I like it. I would rather go long. And I was right, and it went up. I think this stock is very cheap relative to its peers. It's just unbelievable. They do over $70 billion in revenue, and they are being treated as a garbage. And the most expensive stock obviously is NVIDIA. You can see here its price to sales ratio is 22. It's the highest among all the companies. And then there's Marvell, Maxim, Monolithic Power. You can see all these companies are very expensive, right? And now Applied Material is relatively cheap compared to KLA Instruments. Okay, so it's surprising that Applied Materials. I had owned this stock at $60. So, and then AMD, you can see it's very expensive, 12.81. And then also we talk about payout ratios, We show you the market caps here. So this is an application we wrote to pull the data so that we don't have to go through each stock. We can quickly compile all the data. It's a data analysis tool, so that's what we do. Okay, so we looked at that, and then let me go through Etsy. Etsy I liked. We traded this stock. I bought it at around right here 136, and it went all the way to 160. I sold it around 155. I still like it because this is a breakout. Volume is good. This is consolidation, I believe. I think this is going higher, so I like this stock. And then ATVi. Even though this is an expensive stock, I bought this, I sold it, I made money, and I still think this is going to 85 bucks or breakout. Why? Because there are new platforms coming, right? There's a PS5, there's the Xbox, new Xbox coming. So I think people are going to be buying more and more new games. So I think this stock is going higher. So actually, this is on my list, a buy list for Monday morning, and that's why I'm going to keep an eye on this. Again, folks, I'm trying to show you something, how technicals work. So if you're learning something from this, please subscribe to our site. Please subscribe to our channel. So we want to make sure that you make money, and that's the goal, okay? And you learn something. So, okay, from the markets and what we forecast. So let's talk briefly about what we briefly said this earlier on the item 1 was we think the markets are going higher and much higher, primarily even till after the Biden administration takes an oath of office on January 20. Typically, this is a very positive quarter, including Q1, and we expect Q1 earnings are going to be very, very good for tech companies. So be ready for that. I still seeing, we are going to see some crazy numbers because everybody is predicting a crash, and I don't think that's going to happen, at least for the near future. Basically, I don't expect that. The other thing I want to talk about is trading retirement accounts. So I've been trading my retirement accounts quite a bit, and I'll tell you why it's important to trade your retirement accounts and not completely load up into mutual funds if you have the capability to do that. First of all, your money is growing tax-free. So any gains you make, you're not paying taxes right now. You'll be paying taxes on it later, right? So the net effect is multiplied significantly because you're already making money in the present, which has more future value, right? So if you make money now, your future value is much, much higher of that money that you make now. Not only that, you're already saving on taxes by making capital gains in your retirement accounts. So it's worthwhile to really look into how can you take positions in your accounts that are making money every week. So I highly recommend that you trade them, but you be slightly conservative, slightly aggressive, depending on your age, right? So if you're young, you can take some risks and but still buy some solid name stocks that are not going to go out of business, right? And still do very well. We've done relatively well, thank God. So because we've been trading technically, so it seems to be working. And that's why I'm saying is that you should seriously look into not just trading your regular margin accounts, but also look into taking positions. And I do take a lot of positions in my retirement accounts, and I buy them and I sell them. And I've been generating good amount of money in that. So one of my accounts is actually up 80%. I did very well in that account because I took some positions that worked out in my favor. So again, technicals work, and we'll go through that. Okay, so some recommendation there. Okay, now I quickly want to go through some site features that people may not have looked at. So again, the first thing I do is when I come to my site, basically what I do is I go to a certain items basically on my site. So when I come here on this site, let's say I click on stock charts, the first thing I do is I go to the screener and I click on single dynamic scan. So this is just a recap of some things we have talked about briefly. And I quickly look at, hey, what do I want to do? The first thing report I run is stock up by N1. So I pick, what this is stock up by N dollars. So basically, let's say I want to pick every stock that's up by $2 minimum, and then minimum volume is 1 million shares on that stock. So I don't want to trade stocks that have less than 1 million shares. Simple as that. So I quickly run this scan. Basically, it will pull out a report, and I highly recommend this report basically because we don't actually run this in our report section. You have to run this scan by yourself because it's a customized scan. So I highly recommend that you do this. And then quickly I'll show you. So it's taking a little while because I think the site is updating some features. So let's see what comes out of it. So when you do this, this basically tells you, hey, These are strong stocks that might be breaking out. Okay, so you want to keep an eye on those stocks, make a list, and I'll show you how to quickly add to the list. And that's a key feature we have on our site. And I'll show that. Let's see the outcome of this report. Here we go, and bingo. Okay, so the next thing I do is it sorts alphabetically. I quickly sort by volume. So I do it twice. So I want high to low volume. Okay, so you can see here Occidental Petroleum. You can see here it was up. Actually, I don't know why it's not showing on the chart, but I know there's a bug in the software for that. But anyway, this stock was up. SPY was up, FSLY was up. So I go through quickly on this, and let's say I want to add it to my list. So you can see here it's showing that Micron was up 344, right? So let's say I want to add it to my list. I quickly click on this and I say add to favorites. You can see how many favorite lists I've got, like a lot. You can just create a watch list, say my stocks perfect or something like that, and it'll create the watch list. And you can see here it says watch list added successfully, and then you can go back and say show my favorites, and you can click on my stocks perfect, and you can see Micron is in there. It's perfect, so you can have it by date, so I recommend this feature. Okay, so let's talk about the other feature, backtest. I showed this briefly in a video. So let's say backtest is basically looking at certain technicals and telling you how the stock performed for that particular technical test. And once it does that, so you can predict if that test is going to work in the future, right? So let's say we take Micron, for example, and we just use a simple MACD system. We have the fastest backtest on the planet, and there's no question about it. You can see here, I don't want to do 3000 bars. I'll do 300 bars, which is about a year. And let's see what the return looks like. So it says only returned 7%. But look at where it has been in a trade. It's been in a trade since 55, and the stock's at 73. Okay, so it went into a trade at $55, and the stock's at 73. That's $20. So obviously this return would have been much higher, primarily just based on this trading system. So let's look at TC Fast, which is our algo trading results. You can see here this showed, it was negative. Which was not good over 300 bars, because I know that this chart was having a lot of problems, a lot of noise in the background and history. But now it's long since 54, 58. So all of this loss would have been recovered. Let's look at trade for all system. This is negative, but it's been in the trade since $55. And then let's look at SMA cross, which is a simple moving average cross. So let's say 13 cross 20, and I can quickly run this test. And you can see I'm positive. I've been in a trade since $56.25. So obviously Micron is a very sideways moving stock. That's why you don't see good results. But if you ran the results over a longer period of time, you'd see more positive data. Okay. So anyway, this is something I wanted to show. Backtest is a good thing to play around with. Heatmap. Heatmap is a good tool for on a daily basis. So we use that. It's just an S&P 500 heatmap. You can see all stocks are doing very well. You can click on consumer goods. So this is basically showing the market is doing very well. Okay, you don't need to think. And then here we have the charts for each of the stocks. So you can go scan through quickly and see which ones work. Again, we are the only ones who provide this feature, okay, with the charts. Nobody else does it. And I'll tell you why. I've said this 500 times. I love looking at charts, and I don't marry a chart until I marry a girl unless I see her photo, right? Simple as that. So it's a similar situation here. So you can see here a lot of stocks are looking still strong, and you can quickly scan through this list. We had picked JP Morgan. Look at the financials. They're all doing strong. And I'll tell you why. In a democratic government, when the Democratic administration is in the White House, markets do well. It is known fact. Always do well. So with Biden going into the market, I expect them to pass a stimulus package, a very hefty stimulus package. I think if they win the Georgia election, they're going to pass a $2 trillion package. It's coming. And that means another $2 trillion is going to go into the market. That's what's going to happen. You can see here, look at the financials. They're all green, okay? Every stock is green in here. This tells you this market is going a lot higher. The valuations don't matter anymore right now at this point because we are in a bubble. Look at this is just medical stocks, industrial goods, everything is green. Okay, services. Okay, it sort of looks 50-50. Okay, even then, it still looks pretty good. Technology should be all green, I suspect, which basically is what I expect. Oh, of course, its majority is green. Of course, the big name stocks are all green. And you can see here, we show the charts. Oh, this was another trade I did, Skyworks. Let me show you that. I did that trade last week. I know this company very well. I bought the stock here because I saw it was bottoming. I bought it about 135. I sold it at 145. So good move, good money. This stock is going higher, by the way. Okay, folks, this is going up. I would buy this. So this is on my list of buy lists. So I'll add it to my, I think I already have it here. Okay. So anyway, so let's go back, and this was one feature I want to talk about, and then reports. Reports I wanted to show you. These are already scanned reports. We run these. So if you are in a bullish market, you want to look for stocks that are hitting 52-week highs, which we have that here, 52-week highs. So you can see 612 stocks hit 52-week highs. Okay. That's no joke, folks. Okay, so you can look into that list, and you can see Micron, Freeport, McMoran, all these stocks hit new highs. Okay, Moderna, well, that's wrong. That was not a correct result. Okay, I need to talk to my guy. Snow, US Steel hit a new high. The markets are going crazy. Okay, this pointless even talk. So you can quickly click on reports. Another report I recommend is you can look at bullish 1350 crossover, bullish 530 crossover, bullish 50 200 crossover. So let's look at this result, 50 and 200. You can sort by volume, and let's see cron. Let's see here, 50 200. And you can go through this list, and this mouse over charts really help. So I highly recommend that. Okay, and then lastly, so we discussed basically some features of the site, and also one other thing I talked about, I forgot to list here. You can add your stocks to a portfolio, and then we'll send you an email in the evening showing to your email account, hey, what your stocks did technically. So which technical signals is passing or failing. Okay, so you can see here I have some of these stocks, the portfolio. If you look here, I've been buying, I have these stocks in my portfolio since 2011. It's a long time. Oh boy. Okay, picks for next week. Here are the possible trades. I should have sort of summarized this like this. Okay, so possible trades for next week's WDC, Western Digital, PD, Pager Duty. Okay, let me show you the chart for that. Just one stock pick from our YouTube video, and you will pay for the whole subscription for 10 times over. Okay, it's just like, I'm doing this daily, so it's not like I'm telling. I really like the stock. Okay, this stock had good revenue. It gapped up, nice volume. Look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart is all positive. Everything is going up. Its high is 55. I think it could go all the way to $55. Okay, so I really like the stock. Okay, so Pager Duty. Let's look at the next one. Match. I'm long MTCH, because I think that company will never go out of business. They own so many different, sites for matchmaking. It's just like unbelievable. Their revenue is never going to go down. It's just like people want to meet each other, and this virtual environment, everybody wants to talk to each other. So I really like the stock. I think the stock could go all the way to 175 in a bubble. So that's what I think about it. And then the other one I like is Snow. We talked about that. ATVi we talked about. JNJ, let me bring up GD and JNJ. GD, General Dynamics. You can see here General Dynamics is also breaking out. I think it's going to 160. Look at the weekly chart quickly. This is an amazing feature. I can't believe we have this feature. Nobody else has it. This thing could go all the way to 180. So I really like this chart. And then let's look at the other one. What was the other one? JNJ. JNJ. So if you see JNJ here, looking very strong. I was hoping to drop to 140 because I'd put a buy price at 140, and I don't see it. So I think this is going higher against the Dow stock. So I expect it to do well. And Skyworks we talked about. It's on my top of my list of buys. I'm going to buy the stock Monday morning, apart with the others. I think this is to go a long way up. So I really like that stock. And then SUMO is one of my other picks also. So I have to decide which ones I want to buy and which ones I want to keep. You can see here, this is breaking out. I had picked it here. I was going to buy it and then I forgot about it, and then now it's breaking out. So I'm going to actually buy the stock. Very positive. Just one thing we should check is, are they announcing earnings? So you want to make sure that you don't get blindsided by earnings. Oh boy, look at this. They're going to announce earnings on December 7. So that's a little scary. That's Monday, actually. That's a little scary. I mean, even though the revenues are going up, so I would only buy it after the earnings. Even though it looks strong, I would buy it after the earnings. So that's my recommendation. And then basically the last one was ZS. This stock also did very well. I like this stock primarily because it gapped up on huge volume. And if you recall, I've always said gap up on huge volumes lead to good outcomes. One of my top picks in one of my first videos was pins, and I recommended that at $37 right here. I had bought it. Look at where the stock is. It's doubled to $70. Gap up, huge volumes are very, very positive. So just buy. Don't think, just buy. I would wait for ZS to pull back. If you see it pull back, it's already down $4.50. I think if it consolidates here, I would wait and then buy it. If you could get it at 175, I would buy it. And so that's for that picks for next week. And then I appreciate everybody who subscribes. Thank you so much. Please do subscribe. You get notifications once we update. Again, we were delayed. I'm going to try to keep this to weekly if I can at the end of the week. But hopefully I should be able to do weekly for sure. But bi-weekly, I'm going to try to definitely keep that. Again, I got a sort of delayed because of several family emergencies. It was not just one, but several. You can always subscribe to our site. I highly recommend it. You won't find the features we have. It's only $180 a year or $20 a month, and we are updating the site, and you'll see some, hopefully it's next week. I've been saying that for quite some time, but we ran into technical issues again. It's taking quite longer than we thought to fix it. And then again, when you subscribe, it just pays for our server and to keep our development costs. This is the revenue generation from this is nothing to do with what I make in the market. So this is just to help my developers, stay in business and basically earn some money. Okay, so that's the goal. And then we do a lot of this stuff on the site because, again, this comes from the experience I've had from trading, right? So it's important to understand why we do certain things on this site that other sites don't do. Specifically, just for screeners, backtest reports, why we publish certain reports because nobody else does it. So things like that is primarily because of the experience I've had in trading. You can see a strong volume gainers is a very good report we run. Anyway, so I'm going to end it right here. Hope you guys take a chance to provide some feedback. Let me know. You can always reach me by email. And also you can do subscribe and then follow us on Twitter at TrueCharts. And then, hey, let's make money, man. I'm giving you the picks you need just on technicals. And then I wanted to show one other example. I completely forgot which one it was. One particular stock on the moving average. I completely forgot. Oh, we have this big charts feature. So I forgot which one it was. Let's see. Was it Micron? Let me see here. Weekly. Let's see here. Weekly. I think that was this one. I do not recall exactly which one. Look at Micron. Oh my God. Unbelievable stock. It's just like taken off. And actually some hedge funds were really buying a ton of the stock. And you can see, I think it did a 52-week high. This is just like still strong. I think it'll pull back here. I think it's just a little overdone here right now. But on a price basis, it's relatively cheap. Anyway, so I'm going to end it right here. Please stay safe. Let us know if you have any questions. And please do subscribe and use our site as much as you can. I think you'll learn a lot. And I wish you all the best. Okay? Thanks and have a great week.